Hello and welcome to the Tech Lunch Podcast, where we encourage our listeners to learn something new about tech every week. This can range from learning about new and exciting applications to the advancements in coding and technology. If you are always learning, you will always be a step above the rest. Take the time during lunch or during a break to listen and learn, kind of like a lunch and learn, but for the ears. This podcast will open the listeners' ears to new and exciting technologies they may have not been purview to in the past. These topics will range from manufacturing technologies to data collection technologies and everything in between.
Drive for 20.
Hello, I'm Nick.
Hey, I'm John.
Hello, I'm Ed.
And this week we're going to kind of jump back to one of our topics we had before, which is, IoT or, Internet of Everything was the name of the episode I think we did, Ed. And, we're going to go back to that, but we're going to look at the technology that makes up that, and I think we may, reminisce a little bit about some older times, but, at least just to keep, people thinking. But, it's more or less talking about, where we are, where we're going, and how we've gotten there. And then, taking all of that, wrapping it into how are we going to deal with, Industry 4.0, as this thing still builds ahead of steam and is like going to sucker punch the manufacturing industry like with an evil right hand, because it's going to get expensive. It's going to get expensive quick. However, if you know how to, circumnavigate that, it really isn't all that bad. If you think about it. We've been doing Industry 4.0 before Industry 4.0 was a thing. We've been doing IoT before what IoT was a thing.
Yeah, a lot of the times it's that upfront equipment cost that most people don't really want to kind of foot.
Yeah.
Because you get, a normal sensor doesn't cost as much as a smart sensor would be. Mm-hmm. So you got a chip in there you're adding, it increases the money, the cost of it. And a lot of project leads, a lot of, the industrial departments don't want to spend that money. They want the cheap. To be honest with you, you can go into any business, any industry right now, and you could look at their systems, and there's going to be at least one or two systems that are a decade old or more. Right?
Yeah, if not further, yeah.
If not further. And the reason is because it worked, not because it could be better, because it works right now, and then they probably use it in unison with some other, type of application like that. That is a bit smart. But yeah, that's what I see. If you think about all the things that on a household level, that's Internet of Things. Like when I worked at Best Buy, they had a whole Vivint set up a whole smart home station with that. With
I'm going to tell you one thing about Vivint real quick. Vivint is they sell their smart switches. I believe it's Vivint. Yeah. They still sell their smart switches through Best Buy. They're the 4200s. On Amazon, they sell them the 4210s. 4210s are for three-way poles, right? They are some of the cheapest but most reliable freaking smart switches you'll ever buy.
Yeah. Like
I'm running the GE ones in the house right now, and the damn things die every time we get a power outage. I'm happy if half my lights work after a power outage happens. Yeah, I know people running Vivint's and they're like, yeah, we have no issues.
Yeah, I heard good things. Especially, when they brought in that station and made it specifically Vivint at Best Buy, and they set up a smart door and they set up a smart everything, and showed people this isn't the Jetsons. This could be in your house right now. Think about it. Your Ring doorbell, Vivint has their own doorbell, and you take that same idea maybe without a camera, right? And you add, let's say, an RFID reader on that, so you're pressing the button, or you have a key fob, some type that has a scanner. That's how I was getting into. That's how my 24-hour gym works. It did in Boston. It was a key reader like that, and then you think about industrializing that, IDF cabinets. It's security. It's literally you're locking off rooms to certain people, and you can not only lock off those rooms, you can track the usage of that room.
Yeah, who went in?
What happened? If there was an incident, you can say, hey, these are the 4 people in that room during this time, or at least these are the 4 people that scanned their badge. If one of y'all is missing a badge, there's a problem.
And that's not even talking about freaking the whole body manipulation people, the body tag guys. I was watching something the other day, freaking crazy. This girl has an RFID tag embedded in like the fatty part of her hand between her thumb and her freaking forefinger. And so what she does is she'll flex her hand and walk up to her door and and unlock her door in the front of her house. The only joke that I had after that point is, God forbid you move.
Yeah, don't move. You gotta get that out.
Or if you go into a car accident, you misplace your key.
Bring your lock with you.
Well, what do you do?
Yeah, that sounds dangerous.
So to follow up on what John said, and then I'll piggyback on what Nick was talking about. So to follow up on what John says, normally in automation you start with a programmable logic control. The programmable logic control is going to have an initial cost, but it's not the highest part of the cost. Mm-hmm. So some of the cost is the programming, but a lot of the programming is dictated by I/O points. Yeah. So one of the things you can do with, if you want smart sensors, you can get smart modules, and like a mirror block. And the mirror block has this capability of using MQTT capabilities and getting those diagnostic messages from the, I would say, the system level, mm-hmm. as opposed to just on and off. So then I don't have to have the initial cost of having every sensor being a smart sensor.
It's like
I can be strategic in which sensors need to be smart.
Yeah. It's like your 6 scanners, your Lensa drives, stuff like that. You know, those all have a MQTT-esque interface that communicate. You know, especially the new ones. I don't know what the Lensa numbers are right now off the top of my head. But they all have a interface to a MQTT system that can report back what they have, which is nice because we were toiling with them with Germany not too long ago, you know, through work and, you know, with Lensa's help, and they have an entire interface that connects all of the Lensa drives together, and you can connect up your freaking MQTT that way, so all these drives are reporting. You know, you set them up that way. Yeah. So it's easier. But, you know, the thing is now you have an upfront cost. Even your older Lensa drives can still do the MQTT stuff. Mm-hmm. They can. It's just not as easy. But, you know, the issue that you have now is retrofit. You know, retrofit, you know, and is 5 times more expensive than initial install. You know, initial integration and stuff like that and commissioning. Because now you're having to commission these drives and integrate them at the same exact time that you're trying to run running production. Plus, now you have to pay the cost of having to rip the stations apart, put the Lensa drives in, then put the station back together again.
Yeah, and you're on probably a time crunch
to do that. You only do so many a weekend.
They give you 2 days. They give you the weekend.
Right. So, like I say, even in those scenarios, what is possible and what's not possible. Say, even if I'm trying to retrofit or migrate from a system, what's normally a better idea, instead of trying to tear out a whole system, you put in a donor system, or you put in a parallel system that works with that system, and you get that, you keep the existing system in place. Once I have the donor system working like it's supposed to, then you can offline this one or offboard this one. Yeah. But that's part of like some of the old technology. So it's not feasible for every part of technology. But if I'm trying to get to a sensor actuator level, it's not as important as replacing the drive as it is the sensors and actuators or the sensor that's being connected. So say if I have an encoder, or say if I'm getting some type of feedback to this drive or from this drive, then I take that device and interface that device to a smart I/O module, and then just make the connection between the smart I/O module and the drive. So now I'm just pulling whatever data I can get from the drive that already exists, that's already been displayed on the visualization. Yep. And then I take the information now that I get from the smart sensor, and now I can do things like I can do predictability, I can do preventive. Yep. And then I can take these things and I can basically build a reliability model, heat maps, and all these type of things, which can be done in real time in a dashboard, whether we use Power BI or we use Elastic or we use ElkStack or whatever system we want to use to visualize that data.
Yeah.
I mean, at least now you're drawing that data from the source.
Right. You're drawing it in. You know, that's the big thing. That's when you start dealing with, you know, consumer-based systems, you know, inside an IoT environment, you know, inside of a manufacturing environment or inside your home environment for that matter. You know, if you think about it, your consumer-based systems, you're talking about like inside the house is like Google Home, Amazon Alexa.
Yeah, people have that. Like
your
everybody.
your smart your Samsung smart things, which that's what I got running in my rack over there in the other room. You know, those are a consumer-based system. It's waiting on a action to happen before it intakes data, it spits out a response. So when you're talking about, you know, in a you know, manufacturing environment, you're dealing with like MQTT. MQTT is pushing to your consumer. You know, your consumer is MQTT broker. However, on the other side of it, the main consumer of it can be an elk stack. You know, that involves Kibana. You know, that sits on top of your stuff along with like a DB and stuff like that that you're playing with if you want to do a DB based system, or you save it to JSON flat file and spit it into a, you know, through a Kafka instance and display it on a board if you're watching AGVs. You know, but you know, it's all, you know, how you want to get that, you know, in the grand scheme of things, because you know, you have to have a consumer on one end that feeds the, you know, a publisher to a consumer to visualization.
Yeah.
You know, you miss any of those things in between, it ain't gonna work.
Or you're not going to see your data.
Right. But the thing is your data, you know, it's what we used to say is GIGO, or garbage in, garbage out. You know, whatever data you get is what's going to give you. There's no way about it. If you program your freaking your topics wrong, it's not going to work. Well, it will, but it's going to tell you the wrong data the entire time. You know, and you can say it's not, it's fine. Yeah, until you're 15 weld points off, you don't understand what the hell happened. You know, because you don't know how to, you know, you didn't set it up right. You might have missed something, you know, and that happens. You know, for example, you know, our big thing is KUKA robotics. You know, the KUKA's spitting, you know, MQTT stuff to us all the time, and it's great because why? They have a standardized MQTT package inside their controllers that says the same thing every time. You know, between them and some of our AGV providers are some of the most convenient operators out there because everything is identical. I'm not having to rewrite my XML file for it to spit me information.
Yeah, I think you said the word that I was thinking of, you know, talking about smart things and IoT and things like that is convenience. Like, it's not only convenient to have a switch be a smart switch, it's, you know, it drives your decision in efficiency. So it's going, like we talked about upfront costs. Yeah, it is a little bit larger, but you're absolutely right, Ed. You don't need to buy every single one of them. You have you pick your key points and you measure off of those points, and that's where you judge what your cost would be. But then it should be weighed against the pros. Like you're gonna help this user, or you may forego his whole entire process that he's got to do, but now he is a process checker, quality checker, and he's using those smart sensors and the MQTT readings. Maybe he has a screen next to him that says, "Hey, you've got, you know, your fourth line right here is sagging behind the rest of them. You need to get this one right so that we can be more consistent." And it's also convenience. He doesn't have to do all those calculations and kind of meticulously sit there and watch what each one does and record it down, because back in the day when they did the tidal waves and the almanacs and things like that, there was a dude sitting on the beach just like, it measured this today. And it kept going, and that's how they did it. And honestly, instead of putting that person there, you make the smart switch or the whatever's measuring is that person's recording now. And those are pretty true to like what's going on. Yeah, exactly.
So the ideal behind Industry 4.0, the ideal behind setting up IoT and these things when we're talking into an industrial application, the ideal is the digital part will take care of itself. So the ideal of what we're doing is we're not getting rid of people. That's not the ideal.
It's augmentation.
Well, what you're doing with augmentation, you're making that person the manual expert. So that is the person that's vetting your system. And then what these things do, like when you set up a unified namespace, that is your business philosophy. There should be no mistakes, because in the beginning, your business philosophy is, this is what our business is. This is our goal. This is how we're going to digital transform. This is our strategy for looking ahead in the future for 20 years. Here's how we're going to get there. Here's the unified namespace. We're going to set up this unified namespace, and every system that needs to pull from it, whether it be on a sensor level, whether it be on the basic control level, SCADA, MES, all the way up to your ERP system, and on forth into like when we start talking about using AWS and Azure for our AI.
I can agree with that.
You know, so
that TensorFlow and stuff like that.
These are the ideals behind what they're trying to do. It's not, we're not trying to make, something to replace human beings. We're just trying to make human beings be effective at what they do, and we're more effective when we do things where we're creative, as opposed to something that's repetitive, like catching the cookies out the end of a conveyor.
Yeah. Well, think about this. You know, we've talked about this before, and you know, if you'll hear in other episodes as well that we talked about, is your maintenance guy of the future is no longer going to be the wrench turner, you know, that we have today. You know, we've gone away from the world of, let me hit that with a hammer to make sure it rings. You know, make sure I have the right amount of fluid in it. You know, we still have, you know, there's still some use for that.
We still got, I got the IT hammer.
But the thing is we're moving more to, you know, what you would consider like a maintenance process engineer. You know, where they would monitor the process, they would see what's going on, they'd see their fluid levels, all right there in front of them, where they can start making decisions about, okay, cool, you know, I've got a system reporting that we might be due for maintenance soon. They can start scheduling out that downtime for, you know, their other guys to go out there and do the downtime. That's why, you know, we're not taking the human out of the equation. You know, the human still needs to make the call of, okay, cool, is this warning that I have correct or not? You know, the system's telling me it's correct, but if you've ever worked with AI or big data or anything like that, you'll know it lies.
Well, you have to teach it.
Right.
Yeah, and if it's
but the thing is well, and the problem is with that, you can teach it all you want. However, my thing is, if you get, like what we talked about earlier, if you get one spat of bad data from your system when you're trying to commission it and you leave the data in there, guess what? Now your entire model's off.
And that's why I said when you have to teach it, it has to match your unified namespace. It has to match your company philosophy. So there should be processes in place to verify and vet, like, hey, do I have a mistake? You know. Yeah,
but remember, 95% of your MQTT stuff is done by hand.
I get it, but I'm saying if you want AI to do what AI is supposed to do, it has to depend on machine learning. Right. If you want machine learning to do what it has to do, it has to depend on somebody teaching it. Right. And if you want to verify that whole process work, you know as well as I know, somebody better vet that system some kind of way.
And you know, the thing is you know, data vetting is a whole different topic. But you know, the thing is you know, like what I was saying, we're never going to get rid of the human. You know, there is no chance out there to remove the human out of the equation, because you know, even though your AI or big data or whatever tells you that, hey, guess what, we need to do a PM on this, to now, maybe not. We can wait till Saturday. Yeah. You know, we can wait till Saturday till we get through the production week. Then we'll stop the line and we'll do it that way, and so we can schedule out our PMs correctly. Then, as you do that, your system will learn what your PM schedule is. You know, and get you kind of more or less on an even rope. You know. But the thing is you still have to have somebody out there doing it for you, you know. But also, then you have the guys on the floor giving you data points. Okay, cool. When I was doing this PM, I noticed that, you know, I was a half a quart low on some oil in this cylinder. And one thing I noticed that I don't need to relube this, you know, lube point, you know, right now because of what we're running. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Let me put that into my system real quick, spit that into the model real quick, and then it'll adjust based on volume. Yeah. Because the thing is, you know, like weld tips, for instance, can be used for one shift and they have to be replaced. Sometimes two.
No,
or half a shift.
It can be used for so many welds.
Yeah, so many welds. Well, you know, but that really depends on your volume. You know,
and also some of that depends on like.
The thickness of the material and stuff like that.
Yeah, without getting crazy, there's a lot of factors. Yeah. But roughly it could be a shift.
See, I usually do, you know, MIG and TIG. So, manual welding. The thing is, robot welding is a little cooler. However, you still have to worry about tip usage. If you're dealing with like a laser bot, stuff like that, how do you, when you change those things out? You let the system tell you that, okay, cool, you're due for a change here, or you're due to, up the gas a little bit, to get a little bit more pressure behind it because I see you falling off when we're doing this many parts per hour.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's the greatest part about using sensors to overcome issues. It's like, it's just to deviate from manufacturing a little bit, because we can talk about, throwing sensors into the mix, all day long, because we like to do that thing, and, we like to find our problems.
And to be honest, more sensors are better.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes more sensors equal a bigger pain in the butt.
Yeah, that's true.
Me and Ed have learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Quite a few times, where it's like, this don't work this way, let's stop.
Well, I think that the big thing is, like, for example, we was talking down the whole data with the oil companies. The thing is when I say you have to have a company philosophy, like the oil companies 20 years ago decided, hey, we need to know all of these parameters and all these things that affect when we drill down these, when we do this, down the whole data. Well, they got 20 years of data to use. Mm-hmm. So now they know what to do over the next 20 years, because for 20 years they've been collecting data.
Right.
That's the point of a smart sensor. Yep. It's not that, it's smart and it's wonderful. It's that, hey, I can get data from this. It's not just, it's most sensors in nature are analog. Mm-hmm. They can perform digitally, but in nature they're analog. Yeah. You're just taking an analog digital converter and making it digital, where it says 1 and 0, but it's not truly a 1 and a 0. So that's the other thing. You can take all of these anomalies you see. Hey, I got noise in the system. Mm-hmm. Hey, I had a blip in the power. You can get these and see what time of day that happened. Right. You can get these and see what equipment was running, what variant was running. All these things could be obtained.
Yep.
Yeah, and on that point, you could see what you need to do to recover. Like,
but now
it's like, hey, this is like, if it failed that way before, we know what to do next time as well. So, and if you assisted learning or machine learning, you teach machine, hey, you get a power outage, like let's say a hurricane came through and you lose power, you get power back, you lose power, you get power back, and it's flickering. Instead of like trying to fully power that machine back on once it receives power again, give it a standby mode. Hey, I'm going to stand by for 5 minutes, 10 minutes to verify that it's not a power surge. Right. Cool down time and things like that. Warm up time could be part of that as well. Yeah. So.
And just like Windows, when Windows say, hey, I'm going to grab whether it's a page file or whatever you grabbing when you're doing a power down. Yeah. It grabs, hey, I need a snapshot. So I got a recovery point. Now you can do that with your system. Your system can have a snapshot and say, hey, I know I can get back to at least at this point. And to John's point, I can do a control shutdown.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I can do a control startup.
Yep. Induced shutdown and a restart. Yeah. That's when especially when you start dealing with like ovens and stuff like that, and you start dealing with stuff that requires like proc sensors, whatnot, grippers. So you're not getting a gripper that goes completely messed up. Instead, when it's supposed to be closing, it's opening, and when it's supposed to be opening, it's closing. You don't want to do that. Just in case of an oops.
Now, one thing they have done in the industry, they've made anything that has something out on the end of end-to-arm tooling fails in a safe way, so it locks.
Yeah.
So the failure mode is to lock. Mm-hmm. So that they have initiated that, and they've used actual physical things to ensure that happens. So that's one thing that they have done. So that's a good thing in the industry, especially with robotics and end-to-arm tooling. And then like elevators, it's the same way. They lock. Because you don't want something to fall. Yeah, it physically locks in place. Yeah, so that's good. So you can use that same concept. But to get back on to our topic, we was originally talking about, but we kind of touched on the brilliant thing about the IoT, as opposed to IIoT, is that now I can have a smartwatch, and the smartwatch can I can get messages. I can use the smartwatch to, check my pulse and, give me what my pulse is. Yeah. I can even check the smartwatch, to say, hey, I can check the pressure around me or whatever. I can use that watch to my advantage. Mm-hmm. So it becomes a part of me as opposed of it's just a piece of another wearable piece of technology.
Yeah.
So that technology can actually be incorporated. Not saying we become cyborgs, but maybe we get some of the benefits of being a cyborg without being a cyborg.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind being a cyborg. Call me what is it, $1 billion man? Make them faster.
Yeah.
But no. But,
Steve Austin. No.
I mean, we get to that. It'll get to that point. That's a scary future, and a lot of people. I mean, you guys were talking about it a while ago. The kitchen of the future. Mm-hmm. Like, honestly.
It's almost time for all kitchens to turn pink, huh?
Mm-hmm. No, I don't want that. it was like what 5-6 years ago when Samsung started doing a lot of their smart things, and I've sold a whole kitchen package that connects to Wi-Fi, and people can drive home while they're driving home, mm-hmm. preheat their oven, check what they have in the fridge to make sure they got the right ingredients, so they make sure they can stop on the way home, or they can set it up to where the fridge is like, there's no milk in here. Order milk on Amazon Fresh, and it sends to your house. Someone drops it off. Like, it really can get to where everything is not just a tool, but an extension of you.
Mm. Saves me from having to go to the store and deal with people.
It really is cool. Not cheap.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Not cheap.
But and the thing about it is, if you think about it, when you start dealing with IoT, IIoT, and the equipment that makes up those realms, you start dealing with RFID, NFC. That type of stuff where, like, for example, if, they start embedding, like, RFID tags into, like, clothing chips. Most of the time they do when you purchase clothing. Yeah. Now you can, the thing is, if you know how those RFID tags are written, you can check to see when you scan them, you can scan them into a system that tells you what part of that store was shopped on the most. But just by using RFID technology. It'll tell you what your heat map is. Mm-hmm. Cool. I knew I sold this many shirts of this type. I knew it was down this one wall. Yeah. Okay. So how do I make sure they shop on the other wall? I got 4 walls and only one's being used. Now I got to figure out what I'm doing on this wall to make that other wall the same. Is it the manufacturer? Is it one manufacturer being sold more than the other ones? If it is, now I know I need to go kick the other manufacturers real quick because I want them to freaking fill those spots because they're selling better. I'm making more of a profit.
You want what's selling.
Yeah. Right. Or, hey, look, I walked into a store, and now I can use your NFC to ping you sales. Using the, at one point, it was using BLE, or BLE Plus, for the Bluetooth stuff, mm-hmm. and was using the pucks from Google. They would, they'd put them in stores and hide them places, and as soon as you walk in, thank you for visiting. And then they'd give you the, your store number and your randomness. Now, if you have an app on your phone, like what I use on a Best Buy at Home Depot, mostly, and Lowe's, as soon as you walk in that store, you've now entered store mode. Cool. Do me a favor. You're going to do that to my phone. Please push the cart for me.
It's really impressive. Yeah. I mean, it's really impressive too.
Give me a personal shopper.
I bet you they got to the point where. Because, like, when I was at Best Buy, their app, now, it's not the greatest app, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, none of
them. Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
It's kind of bad, but, like, they incorporated a very smart feature. And it's the QR code scanning, and the barcode scanning. And they have digital tags. Now everybody has it. Like, so that was something at the stores. I remember before I came to IT, the TC52 scanners, that was what they used in the warehouse. They used that everywhere. That was like industry standard for those things, and it was those are the things that you would use. Yeah, exactly. Those are the things that you would use, and they would scan and find their own inventory, and you would need an employee to do that. So when I worked at Best Buy, I didn't need one of those. I just needed my phone and the Best Buy app, or even just the Best Buy website but you got to allow your camera, mm-hmm. and you would scan it, tell you the deal, and you can pull that serial number, model number, and then Google it right on the same device, and Best Buy would match it. So it's like, everything that you needed was right in the palm of your hands. So you're using it before you even realize you're using it.
And and now the thing is, we start talking about like, the digital asset tags that I know Best Buy has them.
Yeah, they start.
I know that warehousing, some warehouse has them. I know we've looked at them in some of our areas. However, so what it is pretty much as you check out of that area, it uses the RFID tag built into your device that you're buying and scans it out of their inventory. Okay, cool. That tag is updating the entire time saying how many they have left in inventory.
Yep.
So then it finally goes sold out. And the thing is, it knows that when that rack is empty before the rack knows it's empty.
And it even does like you think about the industry and like just in time, like
just in time, just in sequence.
Exactly. So like if you're doing the Apple standard, what Apple does in the minimalist look is like, we only got one on the shelf. You better get yours now. I got 40 in the back though. You buy the one on the shelf. I just put one in its place, and now it looks like it's it's the last one again, and it's same old rigor and roll. That's how Apple made a lot of their money, to be honest with you.
But if you think about it now, they're starting to make those type of like the hooks, the hooks they got in the stores. They're making those where they're weighted. So it's a sensor, it's a proc sensor in it that as it knows the weight of the clothing or the device or whatever the heck is hanging on it, to be honest with you. So as it knows how many each one weighs, so as it releases that proc sensor, it does an auto count on on the hanger. It tells you how many is there. That's great and all until the proc sensor breaks. And now it's like, cool, you have 300 of them in stock, and no one orders anything. And you have an angry mom sitting there going, well, you didn't have my doll.
But that's that's where we was talking about.
Not at Christmas too.
We was talking about
the Toys R Us coming back too.
Yeah.
The unified namespace and those things. That's where your organization, your business philosophy, digital transformation. That's what that means.
Yeah.
You should be planning for those type of things. So what I mean by that is if you make a system where you're solely going to rely on a wizard, whatever that wizard is, and you do not have something to verify what's behind the curtain, do not get upset with the results. You did it to yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to put things in place. You have to put standards in place. You have to use NIST or whatever standard, ISO. You have to have things in place. Failovers, fallbacks, all those type of things. If this
manual
happens,
overrides,
and then a human needs to go and verify at some point the inventory of that store.
Right. If it looks too good to be true, guess what it is.
I mean, once a year, twice a year, whatever. Someone has to physically.
They're probably doing
make it count.
I'm gonna be honest, because that was what. If I don't have to ever do another inventory, it'd be too soon. It was not fun to do, but that number, that shrink difference. Like, that dictated your next year. If my shrink was higher than a negative 0.6% or 1.6%, you're a target store, and now you have to do sensor sweeps. You have to there's not trivia per se, but you get quizzed on what were your hot spots, like what was getting stole the most or what is missing the most of. And you do the procedures like, are you ringing people out the right way? Are you giving them free stuff? Are you scanning everything properly? And it really brings your store back to stage one when you realize that they can't handle their assets. And
it's asset tracking, basic asset tracking.
And if you make it to where it's more live tracking instead of waiting till September in the count and it's like, oh, I got a 6% loss. You don't want that. If you're like, oh man, I'm nearing that 1%, I better start doing some policy changes now. Yeah. It lets you be more proactive.
And the thing is, it's like if you start, and I know we're going over time again. 30 minutes is for us. It's sometimes kind of hard. We all like to run our freaking mouth. Yeah. But the thing is I go back to, since I'm a criminal justice major, I look at things. Mostly at the Homeland Security level too, is how can I prevent thievery? How can I prevent things? How can I get a better number on my hands, that I'm looking for, right? It's like, if I can be proactive, in knowing what is, like what John was saying, was going on, But the thing is, like, if I have sensors in things, I can see that number change. I can see my MES system telling me, or my SAP system or my logistics system that you have, telling you kind of what your movements are. But then you have a sensor that's reporting on the floor saying, I don't agree with this. Go take a look. It gives you that second eye verification. It's like, okay, cool, I agree with you. Now I get to go find out what's going on to get things back to sync. Maybe the sensor's screwed. You got to go replace the sensor, or you got to go do something else. It kind of knows. Maybe somebody put maybe you had the sensor calibrated for 6 shirts or 6 things, and somebody put 7 on there because you had an extra delivery in a box you just didn't recalibrate. It's that type of stuff that could throw your stuff off, but it's also stuff that needs to report back to each other and tell you kind of what's going on.
Yeah, think about your mobile phone stores.
Yeah.
They got smart sensors on every phone on display. 100% guarantee you, and it will yell at you if you disconnect it. They got alarms and everything like that. And I bet you that show model doesn't even work.
Yep.
But they do it for a reason. They do it for visibility, and they do it so that you can get you can see the item. But those sensors are protecting you.
Yeah.
So.
But the thing is, it's like the other thing is, it's like, why can't you do it like a pair of shoes? That pair of shoes is sitting in a box.
Yeah.
You know how much those shoes weigh. You know what rack they're going to go on.
Yeah.
It's not like some shoe stores, which some of them they're a little rough. Go to Payless. They're all kind of thrown around there. However, but like if you had them set up in a racking system and stuff like that, the weight of each shoe.
Yeah.
The rack. You know the weight of these things. You know what they're supposed to be.
Right.
It's like you look at Foot Locker. You have your shoes on the side, and you have to tell the dude to go back in there or dudette to go back there and grab your shoes for you.
No shoes on the floor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is back there you can have a rack that tells you, okay, cool, this is the weight of these shoes. I know how many I got left. As you scan them out of inventory, it auto calculates your sizes.
I can tell you
that you have available.
That they don't have that, but they should, because that sounds like the greatest idea. Because that's so
why can't I have a screen on my floor near my shoes, a small little LCD panel, a mini LCD panel that tells me what shoe sizes I have in stock, so I don't have to bug the dude that's trying to do a job, 15,000 times to give me a pair of shoes that fit.
And they're gonna bring you the wrong color.
Yeah, and sorry, I wear big shoes, so me asking somebody, "Hey, can you go do this?" That's a trip.
Oh, that's a good idea though. You
that's
can put a little extra rate on the bottom. It's like, hey, if we got a special order, this right here, and we get you this. We got this many in our global stock.
Right, exactly.
That we can send to you, or send to your house, or send to the shop, or something like that.
Yep.
I think that
basics of inventory management.
Yeah,
it's the same thing in MES systems for.
It would change.
And we'll get into that later.
It would change whole business's profit line.
Oh, yeah.
I think when
you're
talking about loss of sales or loss of property, or I think some of that stuff can be. Some people like to put things in cases. I think that's nice if you just want people to look at it. But I think you should have a vending system.
Yeah.
And that vending system is okay. My expensive stuff is in this vending system. When you pay for it, you can get what you vend out of it.
Yeah. Well, it's like we were talking.
And then I don't have to worry about you taking something because it's behind the glass.
Me and a couple of friends were talking about this the other day. It's like, you saw these typical shoe stores and stuff like that. Why can't I make an entire shoe store a vending machine?
Yeah, that's the thing.
But the thing is, everybody goes, well, how do I try them on? Hit the button and say try. They drop out, you try them on. However, I know that those things have not been paid for, but I got a picture of you on my camera.
Yeah,
I know who you are. And the thing is before I'll let you try something, you need to swipe your debit card. So if I don't have those put back in my system where I can read them with RFID tag, I charge you for them.
Yeah, and I go one better. Mm-hmm. We've got all kind of systems that can scan. We got all kind of type of lasers. They put their foot on a place.
Yeah.
It scans the foot. It takes all the measurement of the shoe, and just like a tailor, you can call it foot tailoring.
Oh, and then you don't have to try nothing on.
Yep.
It spits out exactly.
You're still gonna want to try it on, but
make sure it looks good.
But yeah, because most of the time it's not about how it fits; it's the fashion, right?
99.9% of the time.
It's the wrong.
And then even to the point
that's why we're work boots.
Exactly.
Even to the point we talk about sensor failing. That's where when we start talking about using smart I/O, we start talking about smart sensors. We put in tattletale logic.
Yep.
And tattletale logic says, "Hey, I made a boo boo, and I don't have to guess. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna get past 1.
Yeah.
100, not even 300. I'm not gonna get to 300.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of potential to. It would revolutionize like some stores that are like saying like we've got to close locations. We're not doing well here or that. Like it would it would scare some employees thinking that their job is getting like
They're being watched.
Yeah, but
the thing is you're
already on camera. I'm gonna be honest,
and that's where your loss prevention guys are not working with your tech departments to figure out what is going on.
100%.
However, and then they're not working with your logistics guys because your logistics guys can't tell you what the heck's on the truck.
100%.
Worked at some of those stores. You don't know what the heck is showing up tomorrow.
Nope.
It's just going to show up. You're like,
half
great.
in one box, half in the other box. No,
I didn't need half of that, but sure, just drop it off anyways. Mm-hmm. But if you have the ability to scan all that in, now you have an accurate inventory. Most places do. However, when you scan them in when you get them off the truck, most of the time, But the thing is, you start dealing with the fact that, like you said, the stores are closing. They don't know what the hell they got.
Yeah.
Because they don't know where it's going. Oh, cool! I sold 15 pair of Jordans. Okay. Oh, how did you do that when you only had 13 of them? Oh. Oops.
Yeah, that was a big problem. The big problem when I was working was they're like, your online store says you've got 3. I was like, well, that online store doesn't update, but once a week on Mondays. It's Thursday. We sold all of them on Monday.
Yeah,
I don't know what to tell you. So that like even on that scale, why is there not a tracker that's counting off of your barcode scans and communicating to a central database? Why don't you have all your stores communicating to one database? Not saying that it relies on that database, but like,
yeah,
that's your data that shows you what's going on. And if you're not working and learning from it, then you're doomed to repeat your failure.
Well, like I said, I think brick and mortars are probably going to be a thing of the past in the next 20 years anyway. So a lot of these things we're talking about, it's just probably making it giving a little bit longevity. But I think
eventually, yeah.
Amazon,
no one store can have every item that
it's going to be e-commerce. I mean,
but,
why would I go to a store when I can take a picture of a shoe or whatever, and
I prefer shopping mom and pop shops, to be honest with you. And I think that for me, being an IT guy, if I can dedicate time and energy to support those mom and pop shops, I don't care where in the globe they're at. If you can help support those mom and pop shops, I'm going to do that over going to go shop at Amazon or freaking Walmart. If I can help it. I honestly think that I hate and I'll say this flat out. I think Amazon and Walmart are the 2 of the worst things that ever happened, globally when it comes down to commerce.
But the
because the convenience is great. I get that. However, their ability to put out, and the way that they're using technology to their benefit, I get it. However, but their ability to put out small mom and pop shops in the area because they go in there and they do market research on them and freaking steal their product. Yeah, sure.
They can cut
don't if you're going to do that, don't be a prick about it. Because now you got people, in my line of work that are IT guys that have no problem trying to, reinforcing the mom and pop shops to make a valid point.
Yeah, but the problem is you're a different generation.
Well, now you got
kids now don't care nothing about.
Well, now you got Walmart. They can't keep up with Amazon anymore.
No, I'm just saying, like
Walmart
the problem is you're thinking like now, 20 years from now, no one will care about that because everybody cares about convenience. It's just like people quit cooking and going to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Because it became.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying where we're headed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying
for the grave is what we're doing.
That's just where we're headed.
And we're inherently lazy in those things.
It's just going to get, like, each generation is going to want more and more and more, or going to get used to more and more convenience. Not to say that's right. Not to say that's wrong, but I'm with you. It's always better to support somebody in your community.
Yeah.
That's, doing things in the community and not just doing a money grab. Mm-hmm. But, I just, in my opinion, I just think that the way things are going, it's going to be hard for brick and mortars to survive.
It will be. But, the good thing is, hopefully with a little bit, IoT and IIoT thrown in there, they might be able to, keep their heads above water for as long as they can. Yeah. Because the thing is, even if mom and pop shops go digital, using IoT and stuff like that, and still have a brick and mortar location. Now you're servicing not just the newer generation coming up, you're servicing the older generation.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, do me a favor, go to Walmart website, find one thing in a freaking store up the road from here, and I guarantee you it ain't there.
No.
Or you have to order it from somebody else. It's probably coming from Alibaba. Look at Walmart. Look at Amazon. Cool, it's in stock. It'll be here in like 14 to 18 days. 99.9% of the time, I know where that's coming from. Thank you.
Well, that's why things not built in the U.S.
Yeah.
Like I said, we said the same thing about companies coming back to the U.S. Yeah, there are a few, but it's hard to compete with Amazon. Like, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I can right now go on Amazon and almost anything you can think of, I can get free shipping.
But
almost anything.
The thing is, in the world of IoT and stuff like that, Amazon, they're a heavy hitter.
Well,
but the good thing
we
is,
know why though.
Yeah, but the good thing is Amazon also provides the backbone for these mom and pop shops to have IoT in their shops and stuff like that. They provide that backbone as AWS, and if you're a new business, you get credits to be able to build your infrastructure. They give that away to you for free.
And they should use that.
And the thing is they also let you sell things on their platform. So now you're still benefiting that mom and pop shop and still selling on Amazon. Amazon doesn't take that bit of a cut, believe me. But the thing is, it's still better than Walmart. Anything Amazon does is still better than Walmart. We know that from a fact. So, but the thing is we need to be able to support those companies, get to that Amazon point where they can work with Amazon, have their own infrastructure, and keep their flow. We don't want to see 50-year-old companies just disappearing, or 100-year-old companies that have been around for decades, just up and disappearing. It's like the mom and pop shops who are out there making food. You don't want to see them go away.
Bro, I'm telling you, it's coming.
Yeah, well, we're gonna start seeing fast food go away too.
It's gonna become vending.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I'm not saying any of it's right. I'm not arguing with you that is what's right and wrong. I'm just telling you what the logistics of what's coming.
Well,
we can wish and hope all day, but the logistics of what's coming is coming. We can't stop what people. If the masses want this, the few that don't want it, we can fight. But at some point, it is what it is. That's why Amazon is where it is now.
Got Galileo over here.
That's why Walmart. When Walmart was the first thing that started to go in these small towns and start shutting down these mom and pop places, and they haven't recovered.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got people that are doing things, and they should. Everything you're saying, people should do. People should fight till they can't fight no more. But I'm just saying, it's hard when the thing that's in motion is so giant.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah, but
they can still coincide. It's just use their platform to benefit your platform and keep your mom and pop shop open because you may have stuff they don't have.
And they should do that. Like I said,
and if you can keep the mom and pop shop open for another 100 years because you had a niche product that you can sell on Amazon and you can sell on eBay, you can sell on your own store. Be my guest and do it. And the thing is, we're more than happy to help you get to that point. And with that, it's we want to see more people do the IoT thing. Yeah. The IoT, IIoT,
connected.
And then eventually we'll get into some talking about some MES systems, manufacturing execution systems. We may do that next week, but we'll see. But with that, we've kind of went a little over. We're at about 47 minutes and some change.
Oh wow!
So I thank you. Thank everybody for listening. We really hope you all enjoy it. So from my side, thank you, and we'll see you again.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Always thankful for listeners. But if you've got anything for us, you want to hear us chat about as well, you have something that you heard, you're curious on, just let us know. But thanks again, guys.
All right, y'all.
Thank you for listening to the Tech at Lunch podcast, where we hope you learned something about tech during your break or during your lunchtime. If you did, please give us a follow to prevent missing future episodes. If you have any ideas or something you want to hear or learn about, please send us a show idea to podcast@vulcanara.com. Hope you have a good rest of the day and continue learning.